Hey everybody, welcome back to Runaway Roses. Today, I almost messed up big time on just trying to do a little maintenance thing on my truck, and I ran into a big problem. Now I gotta fix it. So tomorrow I have to haul a friend of mine's camper a couple hours back to where he bought it from. He just bought a brand new camper, and there are a couple things that the dealer needs to address. And somebody ran into his truck a couple weeks ago, so now his truck is in the shop and he can't haul his camper back to the dealer, and he asked me if I would do that for him. So I'll be glad to go ahead and help him out and haul it back up there so he can get his service work done. So beforehand I was thinking, well, let me just check out my fuel water separator. Let me just drain a little bit of fuel out of there into a mason jar just to make sure if there's any water in there, go ahead and get it out. And so just a simple little maintenance thing I've done on my Fords before. And so I went in there and I started to drain it, and the little yellow valve just fell right out. I was like, holy crap. Now diesel fuel is going everywhere. My mason jar filled up. The diesel fuel is going all over the floor. I had to run and grab a bucket to get the whatever was still coming out. I kept holding the plug up into the fuel water separator. I could push it up in there and stop it, but as soon as I let go, I could not get it to tighten. I tried for several minutes. I did finally get it to tighten and lock in place, so it stopped dripping. However, I feel like that little plug has broken, and apparently that's the thing that I looked into afterwards. So I went down to the Ford dealer and I got some parts. I'm going to go ahead and replace that plug. Let me show you what I got going on. So here are the parts. I went ahead and got two of them. Gonna have a backup for later. Here's the part number that I got from the Ford parts dealer at the local Ford dealer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go underneath and drain the fuel water separator into the bucket again so I can let it drain out so I can put the new plug in. As you can see, when I crawl underneath this little yellow plug, you turn it a quarter turn counterclockwise and the fuel will just drain out of there into a bucket. And this is actually, that whole yellow plug just fell right out. So I don't know if it'll fall out again, but let's just go ahead and give that a turn and drain the fuel water separator. Make sure my bucket's in place. No, it's not. I may have messed it up and see now I think it's about to fall out. No, it's not draining at all. It's weird. See, it should be draining. I did get it to stop when I put the plug back in. I may have to kind of pull it back out so I can replace it. Let me turn it again. I have to wiggle it. There it goes. There's the plug. I'll show you what's wrong with this one. I noticed last time it fell out earlier today, so we'll compare it to the new one. We're gonna go ahead, let that go ahead and drain. So let's take a closer look at the plug. When you turn it, the fuel should drain out of that center area. And there's a little nub right there and a little nub right there. You can tell where it's just kind of a little black dot. It should be much bigger. Let's open up one of these and take a closer look and compare them. You can see the difference there. The little nub there on both sides. And this one, it's missing. So these little parts there have broken off. And when you loosen it underneath the separator, it should just hang there and then just be able to tighten it back up. I don't know how I was able to get this to lock back in just enough. So fortunately, the dealer was open. So I grabbed two of them. I got one as a backup and go ahead and put in the new one. And then I'll feel good about going ahead and driving, because I got to drive for 4 hours tomorrow, 2 hours each way to go help my buddy out take his camper back. And I would have been real nervous driving on this one knowing that it fell out on me doing that job. So let's get this thing fixed. Again, here's a part number. My truck is a 2022 F250 6.7 Power Stroke. So if that's what you got, there's your part number. All right, let's go back underneath, see if it stopped dripping. It's just about drained out, dripping a little bit. All right, should just be a matter of lining this up to fit up in the groove. I am gonna go ahead and put a little bit of diesel fuel around these O-rings there, just to go ahead and lube those O-rings up just a little bit with some of the diesel. Let's see if I can get this thing lined up. All right, got my flashlight so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better, hopefully. There we go. Found it. Those little tabs should pop up into these sliders, it looks like. There we go. So when you tighten it up, it should just lock in place. I'd go a little bit more. So see there, it's good and locked in place. I'm gonna loosen it back up. Should just be a quarter turn. It's kind of tight. And then it should just hang there as the fuel will drip out of the center of it. So now that it's in, you can see the little tab there. There we go. Locked in place. Should be good to go. Stop dripping. Gonna make a mess here. Wipe it off. There you can see that where those little nubs that stick out on each side go right up in those little slider grooves there. Easy to replace it, but if it breaks off and falls, that's a big problem. Here's my jar of diesel fuel that I got out of it before the valve broke off, so at least there's no water in there, so that's good news. All right, that's just about it. I got one more step. This is a pretty easy job, so anybody can do it, but the last step is very important. Need to cycle the ignition system a few times for about 10 seconds to make sure that the fuel pump will put diesel fuel back into the fuel water separator, because we don't want some air and the fuel lines going to the engine, so we want to make sure we get that filled back up. So let's jump back in the truck and get that done. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to put my foot on the brake. I'm not going to start it. I'm just going to turn the ignition on with the key. I'm going to wait about 10 seconds. Just let the fuel pump run, help fill the separator back up. You can hear it running. You can hear it pumping a lot of fuel, filling that separator back up. Kind of the same thing you do with the fuel filter change. All right, I'm going to turn that back off. Just to kind of let it settle there for a moment. Let's do it again. Foot off the brake. Not starting it. I'm going to turn it off again. Do it one more time. Still going. The fuel pump is done pumping. The separator is full again. Nothing's dripping. We're all done. Let's go ahead and start it up. Alright, all set to hit the road tomorrow. So I thought I was just going to do a little preventative maintenance just to check it out and drain that fuel water separator. And it turned into a big problem. And I'm thankful I'm able to fix it today, because I would have hated to have had to call my buddy and cancel on him last minute and not be able to take his camper back to get things done that he needs to get done to it. And that would have been a big bummer, because he's out of a truck right now too, since his is in the shop. So I was very thankful that this happened in the afternoons. I was able to run down to the Ford dealer and get the right parts and get it fixed. Pretty simple repair. But one thing to note, gonna always have one of those extra valves on hand, so gonna have one or two backups. And so if I'm ever gonna drain that separator again, I'm gonna make sure I have a new valve just in case those little tabs break off. It is a nice little easy way to actually just drain the separator. It's just, except for that little valve plug, evidently it can break. So definitely be keeping some of those spares. But hope you got something out of this video. I just want to put it out there in case somebody else has a Ford and they happen to check that stuff themselves. Make sure you got that part just in case. It's only like, I think I only paid like $18 for that part from Ford, so it's worth having a couple spares on that. So hope you got something out of the video. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time on Runaway Rose. Bye bye.